Hello everyone, it's me, Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am happy to be taking part in the Authortube Seminar Series, aka Wordstock. This collaborative series is the brainchild of Story Detective. I will link his channel down below. Today we are going to be talking about dialogue. Now, dialogue is one of the only key ways for you as a writer to make your characters as realistic as possible. It doesn't matter about their backstory, it doesn't matter what they look like, it doesn't matter what they wear. What makes your character realistic, what makes them distinctive is their dialogue. It's how they speak. It is the perfect way, one of the easiest ways to get across their values, to get across their thoughts, and to get across their personality. You can put so much meaning behind your dialogue, double meanings, subtext, straightforward meanings. You can hide so much and show so much through a little bit of action and the words that your characters speak. So dialogue, for me at least, helps me connect more with a character than their past does, than their actions do. Because actions might speak louder than words, but words tell you what type of person a character is. Now, I am a self-proclaimed, and I stress self-proclaimed very much, master of dialogue. When everyone used to ask me what my strength was in writing, dialogue would be the first thing that I would say, because I find most dialogue very, very easy to write. There's little old me equating something being easy to write with master of. This was a fair few years ago. Do I believe I am a master at dialogue? Master? No. Do I think I've got it down? Majorly. For someone who doesn't like to talk, I always find most dialogue quite easy to just get out and write down. It's how I write when I struggle. I just write the dialogue and then I fill in all of the bits in between. Over the years, I get a little bit more picky about how I write my dialogue, but there are a few things that I myself ensure that I do in order to try and make my dialogue as natural and realistic as possible, because it is very, very easy to make it sound generic. It is very easy to make it sound boring, and it is very easy to make it sound not right in some way. And it's also a very difficult thing to pick this out when you're revising. Here are some of the things that I do personally when working on my dialogue in order to make it sound as natural and realistic as possible. Now, I'm an adult and I write YA, so I write teenagers. Do I know how the teenagers of 2020 speak? Do I know what they reference? Do I know their slang words? No, I don't. So I don't use it. I make my dialogue sound as generic as possible, but I still need to obviously try and make it sound distinctive, and I need to make it sound natural. So I try to avoid adding too many references to a time period. I try to avoid using too many slang words if I do happen to know any, not that I use them anyway. Voice is obviously really important when you're writing dialogue, especially if you're writing in first person. It's one of the ways to make your characters distinct from each other. There's this writing advice I read somewhere where if you write down a piece of dialogue between 2 or 3 characters without any dialogue tags, your reader should be able to tell you exactly which character is saying what sentence based on their voice. I don't agree with this, because everybody can say something generic and sound like anybody else saying that same generic phrase, but it's how we talk in certain situations that sort of give us our distinctness. People who use the word like all the time, like, you know what I mean? Who always use the same words, so, or finally, or you know what I mean? different little ways to make your voice sound a little bit different. The way they speak, their personality shining through their dialogue is something that I always try to do. It doesn't matter if you can't pick out every single one of their lines to me, as long as there is a specific line that you know is just very a certain character. I think the most difficult thing is trying to find a balance between realistic dialogue and fictional dialogue. You don't want your dialogue to sound too realistic, because then it doesn't flow well. It messes with your pacing, it messes with your sentence structure. But you also don't want it to sound too static. You don't want it to sound like you're reading a script and it's just words on a page with no personality or feeling behind it. It can be a difficult thing to do. Things like ums and ers, long pauses, people stumbling over a phrase, things that people do in everyday conversation. Those are the things I think that, even though it makes speech realistic, you don't want to add, because all of those ums and ahs, they just stall your writing and they make it very difficult to read. For example, if I hadn't edited out all of my ums and ahs and ands and so's and pauses, it would make for a very awkward video. And it's my top tip is read your dialogue out loud when you are revising. You can hear if something is not quite right when you read it aloud, as opposed to when you are reading it on the page. It's much easier to pick it out. If you're having trouble with dialogue, listen to other conversations around you. Listen to how they speak. Listen to how the two people sound different, the distinct personalities in their voice, the way they say things, in order to give you some more hint of an idea of how to make your own dialogue more natural. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Good thoughts and happy writing.